So on this one on Euro USD on the 4-hour time frame, if I just want to talk about what has been happening here, we can see that this area we had a high that made a low, a higher high, higher low, higher levels, right? And we know that this point here, we've broken this structure on H4. So everything here is just one bullish move to the upside. And now that we have an up move this way, it's also expected that since price is at higher levels, we could be having possible retracement soon. But until that happens, it hasn't happened, right? So we still maintain bullish structure. So I want to talk about a smart money trap that I see looking like it's playing out right now. So now on the M15 time frame, what do I see here? I see clearly that in terms of our M15 structure, let's look at the significant pushes. This was the high to the left that created the higher high on the H4. So on the H4 right now, you really cannot see so much of an information to work with. That's why we scale down to lower time frames like M15. And on M15, we can see we had a low that made a high, higher low, higher high, higher low here that made this higher high, right? And then we had price trending to the downside. This area here is a possible demand zone on the M15 time frame. And we see how price ran the low of this demand, which could possibly look like a break of structure. Because if we are trending to the upside on M15 this way, and H4 is bullish, and we've just been trading to the upside right now, the moment we have a break of structure of this M15 structure, what is expected is that we'll have a retracement for a continuation to the downside, which we know that's possible. And the market knows you're going to be thinking this way. But sometimes there is a huge difference between a break of structure and a run on liquidity. And you can really not know what truly is a break of structure and what is a run on liquidity until you observe the follow through of price. So it's what price does after a run on a low or a run on the high would determine if that really was a break of structure or a run on liquidity. So now this looks like a break of structure. Yesterday, I was thinking it was a break of structure because I wanted to see price maybe come back into this zone and then start retracing and maybe selling off so that we can do what? Come back into all of these areas on the H4 because this is just one big push to the upside. And we can say that price Euro USD has been overbought. But something happened here. So yesterday's price action, yesterday was the 22nd of August. The price action of yesterday was this bearish move where we had a high, a low. This was one big up move to the upside on M15. Now on the M5, we can see that this, a high made a low. We had a run on liquidity of this point here, which if I turn on my Asian session indicator, we can see we ran the high of Asia and then price trended to the downside. And then we started having all of this trending to the downside. And then this point here was the high that caused the supposed break of structure. Remember, I said supposed break of structure because I do not know yet if this is a break of structure or a run on liquidity. And then smart money traders, like we already know, like myself, or anyone out there that is possibly watching this, would say, okay, since this was the point that caused this move, now if we are retracing into this level, then we should be seeing a sell all the way down. So maybe run this low and then come lower. But something tricky here is happening. Even though we were in this push from a higher low that created a higher high, and now price is trending to the downside, and then we have run this low right here. Let me put that low in red. So we've run this low. Coming to that zone, we've created trendline liquidity. Now price has started creating some internal structures. Remember, 4-hour is bullish, M15 is bullish until this point where we ran this low, where we don't know if it's a break of structure or a run on liquidity. But looking at internal price action, I know, like they know, like I know, and every other person knows that if price comes to a certain level here, we should be looking for possible sell. But what if we play the devil's advocate and look at the market from another perspective? You can see that this low created a high. Now, this point here created a failure to continue lower that led to all of this move to the upside. Now, we just had price retrace. Now, they know that anyone that takes a possible sell from these red lines I marked here, because you can consider this as a breakup structure right here after tapping into your supposed supply level. This could be considered as a breakup structure, put that in black, right? And then if price comes to certain level, which price is in that level right now, they know that we could be looking for sell to the downside. But what if we look at the market on another perspective, where, and another thing they know is that Asian lows like this is always going to be liquidity. So it can be a very good area that price will want to run the liquidity so quick, right? But what if we look at the market in another perspective, where this low made this high? And then all of these moves here are internal price action. So if I look at this internal price action, what do I see? We had a low here, made a high, higher low, made some sort of higher high, higher low, made a higher high, higher low, made a higher high. Now at this level, we ran the low of this point here, fueling that move to the upside. And then when price came down, this area was supposed to be a demand zone to continue higher. But price did what? Ran the liquidity of that low. If I zoom in on the M5 time frame, so we can see it, even though that this low right here is Asian low, that price needs to run comfortably for it from a sell perspective from these levels. Now we have a run on this low, which could be the liquidity that we need during today's London session. So now what I see is after we run this low, price is coming into that area that they know that you and I will be looking for a sell from. But this is just understanding market structure in depth and understanding liquidity cycle. So now price has gotten into that level, and like we can see that we are having a reaction, which I know that everyone expects to have this reaction because they know you want to take this trade all the way to the downside, if possible, maybe to run Asian lows, right? But now this tricky thing that is going on here, it's possible that we can run this low. But if they run this low, I'll be looking at this zone again as another point of interest because I will only trade what I see and not what I think. Because what I think is that this could be a breakup structure here, and then this is all a retracement and a bearish trend. But what I'm seeing is that liquidity cycle, we've started factoring in some liquidity, and today is Friday, and something tricky is looking like it's going on. So now, when we run this low right here, let's go to M1. So when we run this low right here, we had this run on the low, break of structure. We just had this impulse move to the upside, leaving behind this zone unmitigated, right? Now, this is the zone, and then we started trending to the upside, right? And then what are we creating? Trend line liquidity, all the way what? Into this possible area that I just marked here, where they know that one will be looking for a sell from. So let's say we are selling from here. Our stop loss will obviously be sitting here, right? So let's say we're taking a sell from here. Now this sell is going to come all the way down here, possibly going to come all the way down here to run all this liquidity, then do what? Tap into this zone because this area is a demand zone, right? And when we tap into this zone, we'll come all the way up to run all of these highs. If possible, run the overall high, which is going to be all the way up here because now we can see that price has created a lot of liquidity. Right now is a little bit in a fix where we've created a lot of liquidity, even to the upside and the downside. But it's just factoring in and understanding your higher time frame and your lower time frame aligning with your higher time frame. Overall, I want to see price probably run from this level all the way up to this high to run this high. So that's something I'm looking at, and let's just wait for the price action. It's about 10:37 a.m. my time, and that's London time too. So let's see what is going to happen afterwards.